Hey friends, it's Danny. Welcome back to Dine It Frugal. On today's episode, we are making herb roasted chicken with baked potatoes, and I wanted to bring you along for the ride whilst we make this. This is a super easy recipe. It all comes together in one dish, and it only takes very minimal effort to make, which is why I love it. I'm actually feeling not that great today, so I wanted something easy to make for dinner. Melbourne winter has definitely set in. We had a few beautiful days over the weekend, over the Easter weekend, but it has definitely gotten colder. So starting to get into that time of year where we need something nice and warm and hearty for us to enjoy for dinners and lunches and whatever else. So I wanted to bring you along on the ride. Let's get started. We're going to start off by making our marinade, and this is super simple. What I have here is seasoned salt, thyme, rosemary, and lemon zest, grated lemon zest. So I'm going to put that all into a bowl, and I have some minced garlic and olive oil. So that's it for our chicken marinade. I'm just going to give this all a really good mix, and then we're going to go ahead and put this all over our chicken. All right, let me go and get the chicken out. Okay, now I'm going to get my hands dirty. I've got my chicken drumsticks here. I mean, you could use different cuts of chicken. Drumsticks is just what I had. And here is our little rub spice marinade. So I'm just going to put that on the chicken. That was a very failed attempt. And I don't usually wear gloves when I'm cooking, but for this, I don't really want to spend the next 5 minutes getting this stuff off my hands, so I'm just going to wear gloves. And now all I'm going to do is rub that marinade all over the chicken. Now you could put this in a Ziploc bag. I'm just going to do it in the baking tray that I am going to eventually bake it in, just because I'm not feeling great and I don't really want to have that extra cleanup later. I mean, not that putting it in a Ziploc bag is much extra cleanup, because you'll probably throw out the bag anyway, but if you did it in another bowl, you'd have something else to clean up. And as always, the recipe link is down in the description, so if you want to make this and you want a printable version of that recipe, you can head over to dineitfrugal.com, and I've got the link down in the description to make it easy to get to the recipe. Now it's about midday when I'm doing this, so I'm going to allow this to just marinate and absorb all of those flavors of the herbs and the lemon and the olive oil for the next couple of hours. All right, there we go. I'm going to get these gloves off. I'm going to wrap this pan in cling wrap, and I'm going to put this into the fridge so that it can marinate until about 4 o'clock. It's about midday now, so about 4 o'clock this afternoon I'll bring you back and we will get the rest of the recipe together, and this is going to be our delicious dinner tonight, so I'll see you then. One thing that I did forget to mention is I made sure that my chicken drumsticks were dry. I just patted them down with some paper towel to make sure that they were completely dry before I put that marinade on them, or that rub on them, just because it would stick better. If they were wet, it wasn't going to stick. So just a tip for you there to make sure that your chicken is dry. Okay, so we're 4 hours into the future now, and our drumsticks have been marinating since about lunchtime, and now we're going to prepare our potatoes and put everything into the oven. So let's go over to the bench and get our potatoes prepped. Alright, here I have a bowl full of peeled and chopped potatoes. I'm using baby potatoes just because I got them for 50 cents a bag and I need to use those up. You just want to cut them into chunks as evenly as possible, just so they all cook around the same time. So that's what I have here, and I'm using 8 baby potatoes. I reckon that would be about 3 medium-sized potatoes, so that's what I have here. And to that, this is really easy. I am going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Here I have some freshly cut rosemary. Now thankfully I have a rosemary bush out the front of my house now, which is amazing. What I used for the drumsticks was dried rosemary, so you can use whichever one is most convenient for you. So I'm just going to add that in. And then I'm going to add some seasoned salt. If you don't have seasoned salt, or you don't want to make seasoned salt, then just use a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper, but I'm just going to use my seasoned salt. And now what we're going to do is just give everything a really good mix so everything gets nicely coated with the salt and the rosemary and the olive oil. And my oven is preheating at 180 degrees Celsius, just so it gets all nice and ready. And I think I'm just going to add a little bit more seasoned salt. So my seasoned salt is a recipe that I got from scratchpantry.com. It's not my original recipe, it's just something that I found and I tried and I really like it. So that's what I'm using. There we go. We have our potatoes all nicely coated in our oil and our rosemary and seasoned salt. And what I'm going to do now is go and get our chicken drumsticks. Alright, so here I have our chicken drumsticks that have been marinating all day. And all I'm going to do is put our potatoes around the chicken. So you just want to go ahead and surround your chicken drumsticks as evenly as possible with the potatoes. You'd want to try and make them in a single layer if you can, just because that'll allow for more even cooking. But that's really all we have to do. I'm just going to scrape out my bowl to get all of that oil, salt, pepper, seasoned salt, rosemary mix into the baking pan. And then all we need to do is put this in the oven and let it cook. Okay. My timer went off and these are ready to go into the oven. Like I said, oven is preheated to 180 degrees Celsius, or I think that's 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and these are going to cook for, I'm going to say, about 60 minutes, but I'll let you know how long they actually took in my oven once they're ready to eat. Okay, I'll see you back here in about an hour, and while we're waiting for those to cook, I'm going to clean up this mess. See you then. Oven timer's just gone off. It has taken about an hour and a half in this oven. I'm still getting used to it, and it's a gas oven. I used to have an electric oven. It was way more efficient. This is from the 70s when my grandparents built the house, so it's not that efficient, and also I've noticed that the steels are starting to go on the oven, so that's why it took a little bit longer. It probably won't take that long for you if you try this recipe. So I'm going to grab it out of the oven. And one thing that I've noticed as well is this oven is a lot smaller on the inside, so a lot of my baking trays don't fit, which is super annoying. Alright, I know that the chicken is cooked because I pierced one of the thighs and saw that the juice is running clear. If you're doubtful as to whether your chicken is cooked, you can just pierce the side and make sure that the juice runs clear, and then you'll know you're all good. So this is what our herb chicken and potatoes looks like. It smells absolutely delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and serve it up for Matt and I now, and we're going to eat it. Yeah, it's really as simple as that. So we're going to go ahead and enjoy this. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next week. Bye.